everyone. Ready for some seriously fascinating history?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, we're diving deep into Solomon's reign.
Okay.
Specifically, 2 Chronicles chapters 1 through 7.
Sounds good.
It's a story about epic wisdom and jaw-dropping architecture.
Oh, yeah.
And a prayer so powerful it calls down fire from heaven.
Wow.
These chapters really capture Solomon's journey,
Yeah.
as he takes on the leadership,
Right.
inheriting this legacy from his father, King David,
Yeah.
and facing this monumental task of building the first temple in Jerusalem.
It's huge.
It is. Where would you even start with a responsibility like that?
Good question.
Well, the book tells us Solomon begins with a pilgrimage to Gibeon,
Okay.
offering 1,000 burnt offerings to God.
1,000.
That's what it says. What do you make of that grand gesture?
Well, it's definitely a powerful statement of devotion,
For sure.
almost like he's declaring his commitment to God,
Yeah.
before taking on this huge task.
Yeah.
And it seems like this catches God's attention
Mm-hmm.
because he appears to Solomon with this incredible offer.
Oh, yeah.
Ask for whatever you want.
Wow, talk about a blank check. I can only imagine what would be going through my mind.
Right.
I need a lifetime supply of those fancy noise-canceling headphones.
Yeah, right.
But Solomon surprises us, doesn't he?
He does. He really does.
What does he ask for?
Wisdom and knowledge
Wow.
to guide him
Yeah.
in leading God's people.
Hmm.
This choice reveals not just his piety, but also a deep understanding
Yeah.
of the burdens of leadership.
Okay.
Later in his reign, Solomon will face these complex disputes
Mhm.
and political challenges that will demand careful judgment
Yeah.
and discernment.
Wow.
It's as if he's anticipating those future trials
Ooh.
and requesting the tools he'll need to navigate them.
That's a really insightful point.
Thanks.
It makes Solomon's choice seem less about personal gain
Yeah.
and more about equipping himself for this difficult task ahead.
Hmm.
It's like he's saying, I need more than just power. I need the ability to use that power wisely.
Exactly.
That's a lesson that resonates even today, isn't it?
Well, absolutely.
How often do we get caught up in chasing what we want
Yeah.
instead of what we truly need to fulfill our purpose?
It's a question worth pondering, for sure.
Definitely.
But let's get back to Solomon.
Okay.
With this newfound wisdom, he embarks on the construction of the temple,
Right, the temple.
a project of awe-inspiring scale and grandeur.
The book describes this partnership he forms with King Hiram of Tyre,
Oh, yeah.
who provides cedar logs, skilled laborers, and even tons of gold.
Wow.
It's a testament to the sheer scale of this undertaking.
It really is.
What do you think?
More than that, I think it reveals Solomon's strategic mind.
Okay.
He recognizes his limitations and seeks expertise and resources from others.
Interesting.
He's not afraid to collaborate and delegate, which are essential qualities of effective leadership.
I'm also struck by the level of detail that went into the temple's construction.
Oh, yeah. Chapters 3 and 4 are filled with descriptions of gold overlays, intricate carvings, and even a massive bronze basin
What?
called the Sea of Bronze, supported by 12 oxen.
Wow. That's incredible.
It's clear this wasn't just a building.
Yeah.
It was a masterpiece meant to honor God.
And the symbolism embedded in those details is fascinating.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
For example, the oxen supporting the Sea of Bronze
Okay.
weren't just decorative. In ancient Israelite culture, oxen represented strength and sacrifice,
Wow.
symbolizing the people's dedication to God.
So they thought that deeply about it.
They did. Even the specific dimensions and layout of the temple were laden with theological meaning,
Really?
reflecting a deep understanding of God's presence and power. Solomon and his architects meticulously crafted every element
Wow.
to create a space that would inspire awe and reverence.
So it's like every architectural choice was a deliberate act of worship
Yeah.
aimed at honoring God with the very best they could offer. That's right.
It really makes you think about how we approach our own work and endeavors.
Yeah.
Do we bring that same level of dedication and commitment to excellence, even in the seemingly mundane tasks?
Good question.
It's certainly food for thought,
Absolutely.
but the real drama unfolds when the temple is finally complete.
Oh, absolutely.
Picture this, the Ark of the Covenant,
Okay.
the most sacred object in Israelite tradition,
Yeah.
is brought into the newly built temple.
Wow.
This isn't just an ornate chest.
Right.
It represents God's presence and covenant with his people, and it's being placed in the temple.
Powerful.
It signifies the heart of Israel's faith being enshrined in this holy space.
And then what happens?
That's when something incredible happens.
I bet.
The glory of the Lord, described as a radiant cloud, fills the temple.
No way.
It's so intense that the priests can't even stand to minister.
That's incredible.
I can't even imagine witnessing something like that.
Yeah.
It must have been terrifying and beautiful at the same time.
For sure.
I mean, what does that say about God's nature?
It speaks to the awe-inspiring power and majesty of the divine, a presence so overwhelming that it transcends human comprehension.
Wow.
And amidst this display of divine power, Solomon steps forward to deliver his legendary prayer of dedication.
This prayer is more than just a list of requests, isn't it?
It really is.
It's a masterpiece of humility, gratitude, and hope.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I think it reveals Solomon's deep understanding of God's character and the precariousness of human life.
You're picking up on some crucial nuances there.
Thanks. So tell me more.
Solomon begins by acknowledging God's greatness
Okay.
and the people's utter dependence on him. He then goes on to ask for blessings, forgiveness, and guidance. But it's not just for Israel.
Oh.
He even prays for foreigners who would come to worship at the temple, demonstrating a remarkable openness and inclusivity that foreshadows the later universal mission of Christianity.
There's such a universality to his words.
Isn't there?
A recognition that God's love extends beyond national boundaries. It's a powerful message, especially considering the often tribal nature of ancient cultures.
It really is.
But this is where things take an even more dramatic turn.
I can't wait to hear this.
As Solomon finishes this heartfelt prayer, fire descends from heaven.
Wow.
And it's not just a gentle flicker.
Okay.
This fire consumes the offerings.
Whoa.
Signifying God's acceptance and approval of Solomon's prayer and the temple itself.
Amazing.
It's a visible, tangible manifestation of God's power and presence.
You can almost hear the echoes of that divine reverberating through the ages.
And as if that wasn't enough, God appears to Solomon that very night.
No way.
Delivering a promise that resonates with profound significance even today.
This is where the heart of the story truly lies.
Okay, tell me.
God says to Solomon, "If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land."
Wow, there's such weight to those words. A timeless truth that transcends the specific context of Solomon's reign.
Absolutely.
It's a promise that offers hope and healing, but also emphasizes the responsibility that comes with it. God's willingness to hear and heal is contingent upon our humility, prayer, repentance, and a genuine turning away from wickedness.
It highlights the reciprocal nature of our relationship with God.
Right.
He offers grace and mercy.
Yeah.
But it requires a response on our part.
You mean we can't simply expect blessings without actively seeking to align our lives with his will?
That's exactly what I mean.
Wow. So God lays down the law, making it clear there are strings attached to these blessings.
It's a reality check.
How does Solomon handle this divine reality check? Does he keep his end of the bargain?
Well,
Whoa.
After that powerful encounter, 2 Chronicles paints this picture of Solomon's reign reaching incredible heights.
Oh, yeah.
He experiences this period of peace and prosperity.
Okay.
Unlike any before.
Wow.
His kingdom expands, trade flourishes, and people from all corners of the world come to witness Solomon's wisdom.
Interesting.
And the splendor of the temple.
So it's like a golden age.
It is a culmination of everything he's worked for.
But you hinted earlier that there's more to this story.
Right.
A shadow lurking behind this dazzling success.
You're remembering that divine reality check. You see, as Solomon accumulates wealth and power, he begins to drift from the path God set before him.
Okay, how?
He starts building temples for foreign gods.
Wait, what?
Likely to appease his many wives
who
came from diverse cultural backgrounds.
So Solomon, the man who asked for wisdom over riches,
Yeah.
gets caught up in the trappings of wealth and power.
It seems so.
That's a pretty big contradiction.
It is.
Did he lose sight of the wisdom he so fervently prayed for?
It's a fascinating question.
It is.
Perhaps this is less about a loss of wisdom
Okay.
and more about the complexities of human nature.
Yeah.
Even for someone like Solomon, he might have rationalized his actions,
Oh, really?
thinking he could maintain his devotion to God
Okay.
while accommodating the beliefs of others.
So maybe he thought he could handle it all.
Yeah.
That his wisdom would keep him from straying too far.
Maybe.
It's a subtle kind of temptation.
It is.
Thinking we can have it both ways.
Yeah.
That we can bend the rules a little without facing consequences.
Indeed. And it's a temptation many of us face in our own lives.
How so?
We might compromise our values for the sake of convenience, ambition, or even love.
Wow.
Convincing ourselves that we're still in control.
So Solomon's story is a powerful reminder that none of us are immune to those temptations.
That's right.
No matter how wise or successful we may be.
It's humbling, isn't it? It is. So what happens when Solomon starts down this slippery slope?
Okay, what happens?
Does he get a wake-up call?
I hope so.
Thankfully, God, in his infinite mercy, doesn't abandon Solomon.
Okay, good.
He sends prophets to warn him, urging him to repent and return to his original devotion.
Interesting.
Imagine the weight of those prophetic pronouncements.
Wow, yeah.
Reminding Solomon of the covenant he made.
Yeah.
And the consequences of straying from it.
That must have been a gut-wrenching moment.
I imagine so.
Realizing the gravity of his choices.
Yeah.
So how does Solomon respond? Does he heed these warnings?
Sadly, no.
Oh.
He doesn't fully turn back to God.
And what happens?
As a result, the kingdom he built with such care begins to fragment.
Oh, wow.
Foreshadowing its eventual division after his death.
That's a heart-wrenching consequence.
It is.
It's a reminder that our actions have ripple effects.
Yeah.
That extend far beyond ourselves.
It makes you wonder about the nature of wisdom itself. Is it a guarantee of a perfect life? Or is it something more complex?
That's a profound question that cuts to the core of Solomon's story.
I think wisdom, while immensely valuable, doesn't shield us from making mistakes. It's more like a compass pointing us in the right direction. But it's still up to us to follow that guidance and resist the pull of our desires.
So it's a continuous journey.
It is.
Of seeking, understanding, making choices, learning from our mistakes, and constantly recalibrating our course.
Precisely.
It takes humility.
It does.
Acknowledging that we don't have all the answers.
Right.
And that we need God's help to navigate life's complexities.
And that's a message that resonates across time.
For sure.
We often celebrate figures like Solomon for their accomplishments.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember they were human, capable of both great wisdom and significant missteps.
So how should we view Solomon?
Good question.
Is he a hero? A cautionary tale? Something in between.
I think.
And considering his straying from the path, how does this impact God's promise to heal the land?
Oh, yeah.
Does that promise still hold true?
Well.
So we left off with some pretty heavy questions.
Yeah.
About Solomon's legacy and the enduring nature of God's promise.
Right.
It's like we're standing at this crossroads, looking back at Solomon's triumphs and failures and trying to figure out what it all means for us today.
That's where the real power of these ancient stories lies.
I agree.
They challenge us to wrestle with these timeless questions about faith, wisdom, and the human condition.
So how do we even begin to process Solomon's story?
That's the question, isn't it?
With all its complexities and contradictions.
It's easy to get caught up in the grandeur of his reign, the wisdom he displayed, and the incredible temple he built.
But then we see his flaws, his missteps, and the consequences that followed. It makes you wonder, how do we reconcile those two sides of Solomon?
Perhaps the key lies in recognizing that Solomon, for all his wisdom and achievements, was still human.
Yeah.
He was susceptible to the same temptations and struggles we all face.
That's true.
His story isn't so much about achieving perfection as it is about navigating the complexities of life with faith and humility.
It reminds me of that saying, there but for the grace of God go I.
Like that one.
We might not be building temples or ruling kingdoms, but we all have moments where we stray from our values, make choices we regret, and experience the consequences of those actions.
Absolutely, and that's where God's promise to heal the land takes on a whole new dimension.
Oh, how so?
It's not just about a physical land, but also about the inner landscape of our hearts and minds.
Oh, I see.
We all have areas in our lives that need healing.
Like what?
Broken relationships, past hurts, patterns of sin that hold us back.
So even though Solomon stumbles, God's promise remains open.
It does.
To those who seek forgiveness and restoration.
That's right.
It's a beacon of hope.
Yeah.
A reminder that no matter how far we stray, We can always turn back to God and find grace and mercy.
And that turning back requires humility. Recognizing our need for God's help, confessing our shortcomings, and actively seeking to align our lives with His will.
So it's not a passive waiting for things to get better.
No.
But an active pursuit of healing and wholeness.
Exactly.
It makes you think about what our land is, what areas in our own lives need that kind of restoration.
You could be a relationship that needs mending.
Right.
A habit that needs breaking, or a wound from the past that needs to heal. Solomon's story invites us to reflect on those areas and to approach them with humility, seeking God's guidance as we navigate the complexities of life.
It reminds us that wisdom isn't about having all the answers, but about knowing where to turn for help when we need it.
It's also a powerful reminder that our choices matter.
Oh, yeah.
We might not see the immediate impact, but our actions have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves.
Wow.
Influencing our relationships, our communities, and even future generations.
That's a sobering thought.
It is.
And also an empowering one.
We have the capacity to make choices that bring healing, restoration, and blessing. Not just for ourselves, but for those around us.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Solomon's life and legacy, I'm left with a sense of awe at the depth and complexity of this ancient story.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It challenges us to embrace both our humanness and our capacity for greatness, reminding us that even in our failings, God's grace and mercy are always available.
And perhaps that's the most enduring message of Solomon's journey.
What is it?
A journey that began with a prayer for wisdom. And ultimately points us towards the one who offers true wisdom. Lasting hope, and a love that never fails.
Well said. And on that note, we leave you with a final thought.
Oh, yeah.
What aspect of Solomon's story resonated most with you? What land in your life needs healing? And how can you apply the lessons we've uncovered to pursue a life of wisdom, purpose, and genuine connection with the divine?